Well, congratulations. We're almost at the end of Module 2. As you remember, I promised you that we were going to go through the solution to the function variable problems, example 1 and example 2. On example 1, if you remember, we were trying to calculate how much money we were making after 8 years. You should have done certain things on this problem. You should have created a variable called multiplier or another variable name of your choosing that equals 1.1, since the 1.1 happens every year. Then create a variable called result or total or however name you choose to make sure that it equals the amount invested in 8 years. And then print out the result in idle. Of course, as you're doing your coding, you always want to make sure that you are writing your comments with a hashtag. In example 2, it was similar. You should at least assign variables to height and weight, calculate the BMI with a calculation using variables to find the BMI instead of the numbers, and then print the result of the BMI calculation. What we're going to do now is we're going to go to idle and we're going to try to solve all this, example 1 and example 2, and see if you came out with sort of the same thing that I did. Let's go. So here I have idle open, and the first thing I need to do is I need to create a variable that is called multiplier or something like that, because 1.1 is going to happen every time. Of course, we want to put the comments. We want to assign a variable with a value of 1.1. If you have a different comment, that's fine. Remember that you're the one writing the code. So as long as you can understand what you're going to do, that's fine. What we want to make sure is that we get the right result. Different people will take comments different way or different calculations on the code. It will be different. But the results will be the same. I'm going to call my variable multiplier. I know that I'm going to be using this variable every time I multiply by every year. Then I also want to create a variable called savings. My savings were $100. And finally, I want to create the formula in some kind of way in which the total or the result, if you want to call it result, will be equal to the formula. Remember that we said, oh, wait a minute, we also want to print it out, right? Remember, you need to use the name of the variables instead of the numbers. If you were using the numbers, you pretty much are not doing yourself any favors. We're trying to use the name of the variables. That way, if we were coming here and change the multiplier value or the savings value, then the print will still work. Let's see if this works. Alright, so we created a variable 1.1. That was a multiplier because it happens every year. The 1.1 comes from the 10%. We have a 10% investment every year, return. And the savings were $100. We also want to make sure that we print our variables. Now if you have done this in a new file, and you press enter, Python will ask you to file and save. I already saved it as savings. Once you have saved it, you want to make sure that you run the program. Come to run and run the module. As you can see, Python ran it and I had $880. That will be how much money you'll make after 8 years. Did you get that too? I hope you did. If you have any questions, you can always send me a text email me through udemy.com, and ask me questions about anything in the course, of course. Now let's do example 2. Here we are. We're going to do example 2. And for that, I'm going to open a new file. By the way, if you create files or code that is reusable and that is good, make sure that you give it a descriptive name and save it. Code can be reused so many times, and it can save you a lot of time if you're trying to put together like a big program or coding.